Hey guys, what's up? Alright, now I think we all know that the process of getting your name legally changed when you're transgender is pretty convoluted and fucked up in most states, including Florida, but a lot of people don't necessarily know exactly even how to get started with that. The requirements are definitely different depending on which state you're in and exactly what you're trying to get your name changed on. Since I'm a Florida resident, we're just going to be going over how to get this done in the state of Florida. Now, unfortunately, being transgender means that we face a lot of additional requirements and hoops to jump through before we can change our names legally that a cisgender person would be required to go through if they wanted to just change their name. Now, a lot of us don't even know what those requirements necessarily are, and it can be even more confusing since they do vary from document to document. But for the sake of this discussion, we're going to start off with what's probably going to be the most useful documents to change, and actually the ones that you can do the earliest in the process, which is going to be your social security card and your driver's license. Now, just like pretty much everything else we ever do, this requires a doctor's authorization. That's the bad news, but the good news is that the only requirement the doctor has to have in order to be able to write you a letter approving you to have your name legally changed is for you to be on hormone replacement therapy. That's it. If you're seeing a doctor for hormone replacement therapy, that same doctor has the ability to write you a letter to approve you to have your name legally changed on your social security card and your driver's license, as well as having your gender marker changed. Now, when I was first starting everything, I was under the impression and had been told by several people that you actually had to go through everything, including sexual reassignment surgery, before you'd actually be able to have anything about your name changed at all. So this definitely came as a huge relief for me, and I hope it will for a lot of other people too. So that's it. Get on hormone replacement therapy and you're golden. You may have to remind your doctor to write you the letter, but once you're on hormone replacement therapy, there's no reason that they should not write you that letter, and then you can take that to the court. This is the part that's most aggravating, because in the state of Florida, it costs somewhere between $400 and $500 to have your name legally changed if you're transgender. But here's some good news. It's a little well-known secret that when you're filing your petition with the court to have your name changed, there actually is a waiver that you can fill out in order to potentially have the fees waived. The requirements for the court to waive the fees are for you to be able to be considered indigent, basically low income to the point where you are not considered to be able to provide sufficiently for yourself. This is really great news for a lot of transgender people who may be homeless or unemployed or simply low income. Now, when you file this petition with the waiver, you'll actually have a day in court where you will meet with the judge and make your case with them. In the end, the judge is going to be the one to decide whether or not to allow you to legally name your change or whether or not to waive the fees, but I've heard good things in most cases from people who have gone to do this whole process. Basically, the main thing that they want to make sure of is that you're competent and you've thought all this through and that it is in your best interest, which is still kind of fucking annoying since, like, we are treated like children at every step of this process, but whatever. So once you've gotten the court order approved to have your name legally changed, you're pretty much set. The first thing you're going to do after that is take that to the Social Security office. You have to have your Social Security card updated with your new name first. And then once that's done, you can take that all to the DMV and you'll be able to update your license or state-issued ID there. Now, if those are the only documents you're looking to have changed, which is going to be sufficient for most people, you're all set at that point. And from my understanding, all of this includes your gender marker change as well. You would be changing that at the same time with the same letter and court order. However, a lot of times there are definitely people who want to have that information updated and changed on their birth certificate as well. That can be done, but the requirements are a bit more stringent for that. In addition to having everything else changed and updated, if you want to have your birth certificate name and gender marker changed, you actually will have to have sexual reassignment surgery and proof of that and a separate letter written for it. Now, I don't personally know anyone who's actually gone through that process, so I'm not sure if there are any fees associated with that or not, or any way to waive them, but for most people, the driver's license and the social security card is going to be enough, at least until after sexual reassignment surgery, since you can't even worry about it till then anyway. But then you know how to have your name legally changed in the state of Florida if you're transgender, and potentially how to get the fees associated with that waived. As always, thank you so very much for watching, and until next time, be yourself. And I know there are things you want to change, and there's nothing wrong with that. Do what you gotta do to make you happy. You'll still be every bit as beautiful. But what you won't be is more beautiful. You can't be more beautiful, and you don't need to be more beautiful. Because no one could be more beautiful than you already are. You are beautiful. You're amazing. And I don't just mean on the inside.